This is going to be a review for Supergirl, the 2026 film. It's one of my most anticipated films of the year. It's my 9th most anticipated film from June to December of 2026. So this one is definitely one of several. And I wasn't really excited for this movie, to be honest. When I heard Millie Alcock was cast as Kara Zor-el, it didn't really do anything for me because I'm not very familiar with the actress. She's in House of the Dragon and a few other small projects. But she's an Australian actress, and they tapped Craig Gillespie to direct the movie. He's an Australian director as well, mainly known for doing like drama films. He did Lars and the Real Girl, The Finest Hours, I, Tonya, Mr. Woodcock. He usually does like smaller sort of dramas and comedies, some TV. So this is kind of like a departure for him, doing a big budget sci-fi spectacle. Also because the movie is sort of based off a comic called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is written by Tom King and beautifully inked by Bilquis Evely, one of the best artists out there. So I wasn't really sure what to expect with the movie, and I gotta say it was pretty enjoyable. This movie is a coming-of-age sort of spacefaring, sci-fi journey sort of movie. Wasn't really sure what to expect, but it was a nice surprise. Kara basically likes to, she lives on a sun planet. However, she likes to go down and with her ship and Krypto, her dog, and she likes to go down there and get wasted. And she's celebrating a birthday week because she's drowning out her sorrows because of all the angst and sort of trauma she had of losing her world and family, which we see through flashbacks. However, the main story is that while she's having a drunken night out, a young girl named Ruthye comes in, and she basically is doing a true grit sort of story where her family was completely wasted by Krem of the Yellow Hills, a dangerous brigand who stole her family's swords, so she wants revenge. However, Krem comes by Supergirl and steals her ship and shoots Krypto with a poison arrow. So Kara has 3 days to rescue her dog, so now she's forced to go on this sort of trip, and Ruthye tags along. Along the way, they bump into many different types of lowlifes and space pirates, all sorts of aliens and sort of cool things, ships and things like that. The original comic is really good. It's sort of like an episodic kind of adventure as they go along. They have Kara and Ruthye face a lot of different threats in the comic, but the movie has to be more streamlined. So it's basically a John Wick-like adventure where they just have to get him. We also throw Lobo into the mix. Could have had a little bit more Lobo. In fact, this movie's pretty short. It's only like an hour 50. I kind of wanted more. I wouldn't have minded if the movie would have been longer, because you do get the character development of with the flashbacks of Kara's sort of upbringing. And I really liked how the movie's not very burdened in that regard, because, you know, Superman, he has his whole landing in Smallville and having his code or whatever. And the movie from 2025 had a lot of reiterations they had to do, and they changed some mythos around. But this movie doesn't have that problem because it's sort of a spacefaring adventure off to the side. Kara doing her own thing, getting involved with these pirates, and she gets put through the ringer. I liked how the movie really had to deal with her weaknesses, because she's not on Earth where it's safe and she's got powers. She's, you know, fighting different types of villains, or just getting into scraps with different aliens, and there's different suns and there's different poisons and all sorts of things to sort of challenge her a little bit. If I had any problems with the movie, I guess there is a song choice for the finale that feels a little out of place. It doesn't organically fit, so it's sort of they just add the music in there, and it's awkward. You can tell they were trying to go for a 5 years time kind of vibe for the Mr. Terrific fight, but that song was already playing at the camp when he did his whole thing, so it doesn't really matter. And then I guess there is a thematic choice they did. They changed the ending of the comic in the movie, and it kind of hurts Kara's character a little bit because it's a little off-putting, and they had another choice. They could have had a different character do what she did at the end. So besides that, though, the movie's really good. I enjoyed it. The production value is definitely on display. You know, all these cool puppets and animations and villains and all sorts of spacefaring stuff as they go on this road trip. If I had another complaint, it would be that the action's not quite up to snuff. The opening, there's a bit of a fight scene outside of a bar, which is pretty good. Then we get a really nice battle in space with tech pirates. However, there's a bar brawl that's done sort of off camera, off screen. The camera's focused on Ruthye in the corner, and it's way too short. It just doesn't really fit. You definitely feel like it was trying to do a 5 years time kind of brawl from Superman 2025, but it didn't have the experience or the direction, and it just felt a little off. It just felt like that fight scene in Deadpool and Wolverine where Deadpool, Wolverine, and their little gang show up at Cassandra Nova's place, and it's just like a messy sort of, everyone's just sort of shooting, there's no real fighting. It just feels really awkward, like the camera's really like awkward, and just that whole fight scene in Deadpool and Wolverine just feels really messy, and you can tell the director didn't know what to do for that scene. It felt the same for the bar fight. All the Lobo stuff's great, and then everything after that is okay. A lot of the action's just sort of messy and sort of unchoreographed. It's just sort of Kara flying around, sort of punching things, and some of the aliens, they're all like decked out in armor, and they have different densities because they're different aliens. Like Krem seems to have like some super strength at a certain point, so she can sort of like go around smacking everything full blast, but not everyone flies away. So there's a bit of variation, and that you can't just run around smacking everyone really quickly because they're not human. Some of them are aliens, some of them are heavy. You don't really know. I also didn't like some of the direction choices for the production design for the characters. Ruthye in the comic is like red-skinned, and she looks very alien. And Krem looks like Green Arrow, like Oliver Queen, and they swapped that. So now the Ruthye's like just like regular Asian girl with a British accent, and Krem is like decked out super alien with like face studs, and they took away his handsomeness, but it wasn't a big deal, to be honest. So overall, Supergirl is a fun romp. Except for those couple things at the end, the movie has enough Lobo to not sort of overshadow the rest of the film, but the flashbacks add a lot of narrative and emotional heft. The action's not that great, but it's doable, and it's a solid sort of coming-of-age origin story for Kara, and there's a lot of good scenes with her and Superman as well. So there's no post-credit or mid-credit scenes. Supergirl, definitely, I liked it a lot more than Superman. So I give Supergirl a 7.5 out of 10.